The Diamond Dub Scud is a fairly simple fly to tie and has been my favorite for local trout waters. I have experimented with lots of materials, and this is what has worked best for me. A list of the materials I use, including the colors of the dubbing you see in these 4 flies here, can be found in the description below. Begin the fly by laying down a thread base. I like to use lead both for weight and to give the correct profile. If you choose to weigh yours as well, create a thread dam on either side of the lead and wrap over it until it is secure. Then end with your thread deep into the bend of the hook. The antennae are going to be made out of the single tip of a partridge feather. Select a feather that matches the color scheme and prepare it by stripping all of the fibers except for the ones near the tip. Measure these fibers to be about as long as the distance between the end of the hook eye and the barb. Tie in the measured fibers at the point where you left your thread. Take several wraps up the hook to secure it and cut the stem so it butts up against the lead wire. Move your thread to be in front of the lead. Tie in a piece of wire at this point and wrap your thread all the way back to the antenna to secure it, making sure it stays on the side of the hook facing you the entire time. Thin skin is used to create the back of the fly. Prepare a piece of it by cutting an even strip. This is a size 14, and I have found that about 2.5 millimeters is perfect for this size. Tie in the thin skin so that the end of it is about halfway between the antenna and the hook eye. Tie it in at the base of the antenna and then wrap forwards, ending with your thread in front of the lead wire. I like to use Arizona Diamond Dub, hence the name of the fly. I have found it gives a great effect when wet, and also has a good amount of spectrum and flash. However, you can use other dubbing if you don't have any. Remove a small clump of fibers and begin twisting these onto your thread to create a dubbing noodle. Try to make it as thin as possible. Begin wrapping the dubbing just in front of the lead and go back until you reach the antenna. You should end up with a body that is widest in the middle and tapers both directions. The next step can be done with a dubbing loop, though you will need to create a loop at the rear of the hook before creating the dubbed body. I find it simpler to just split your thread instead. To split your thread, spin your bobbin counterclockwise until the thread lays flat. Then use something sharp like a needle or scissors to separate the thread into 2 strands. Insert a very small amount of dubbing into the loop or split thread. This is just to form the legs, and a little goes a long way. Twist up the thread until it is tight enough to lock in the fibers. Take a couple of wraps at the rear in the same place until the dubbing starts to catch, then cover the thread with the dubbing and continue taking spiral wraps up the body until you are at the head. Once at the head, take a few wraps to hold everything in place, then let your thread untwist. While the bobbin is spinning, take out a brush or Velcro and brush out either side of the fly, parting the fibers on the top so they fall on either side. Now we are going to form the back of the scud. Gently pull the thin skin over the top of the scud, making sure it goes directly over the top. Thin skin is a little brittle, so don't pull too hard because it will break, but you do want it under a little tension. If the ink cracks, don't worry, this will only add to the mottled effect. Take several tight wraps at the eye to hold the thin skin in place, cut off the excess and cover it with a few more thread wraps. If you have a rotary vise, put in a half hitch to hold your thread at the head. If not, you can ignore this and begin wrapping your wire forward to create segmentation. With each wrap, I like to pull out any caught fibers. This will make for a cleaner back later. Tie off your wire at the head by taking wraps on either side of it to lock it in place, then helicopter or cut the wire close to the tie-off point. If you need to, you can take a few more wraps to secure the end of the wire. Cover any wire or thin skin remaining with the terms of your whip finish, then cut your thread. Again, use your brush or Velcro to pull out any trapped dubbing and to align the fibers downward to imitate legs. Trim the dubbing fibers just shorter than the bottom of the hook. I find it helps to turn the fly upside down, however you may find it even easier to remove the fly from the vise and hold it in your hand for this step. Once you are satisfied with the legs, return the fly to its normal orientation. This is where the fly really starts to come to life. Cover all of the thin skin with thick UV resin, being careful not to get any of it into the dubbing. Let it smoothen itself out and be sure to pay attention to the thin skin on the far side of the fly. Once you are satisfied with how it looks, cure it with a UV light. To enhance the magnified effect, put a second coat of thin resin over the top. This helps to create a more even curve and really helps to magnify the back of the Scud. If you are fishing this in a lot of rocks and notice that it is getting scuffed up a lot, try using a light coat of Sally Hansen hard as nails rather than the thin UV resin. You will just need a place for them to dry for about 5 or 10 minutes after. Applying the resin in this fashion helps to create a transparent looking body that really seems to work. This fly has caught plenty of fish for me and is easily my favorite Scud pattern. I hope it treats you as well as it has me. I also hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider subscribing for more videos like it. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down below. I try to respond to all of them. Thanks for watching, and tight lines.